Talk about a game of two halves. The Bucks dropped a very easily winnable game against the Rockets in Milwaukee, and we'll break down exactly what went wrong at the end on today's episode of Locked On Bucks.
You are Locked On Bucks, your daily Milwaukee Bucks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What it do? Welcome to Locked On Bucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now the number one sports podcast network out here. Your team every day. I'm Camille Davis, an NBA analyst with the Locked On Network and co-host of the Technical File podcast. Definitely appreciate you for tuning in and making Locked On Bucks your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, as well as on YouTube. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On NBA for $20 off of your first purchase. Oh, the Milwaukee Bucks, man, they drop a very winnable game against the Houston Rockets tonight. Bucks lose 122-115, and the Bucks drop to 6-4 after that loss. A Bucks team that very easily feels like it could be 8-2. You know, if things broke a little bit differently tonight as well in that game against Sacramento. So it's a tough pill to swallow and disappointing because, like I said, it felt winnable. Shoot, the Bucks were winning for most of this game until the Rockets started really getting control in the second half. You felt that momentum starting to shift a little bit in the third, but in the fourth quarter is when the Rockets really, really put it away. Doc Rivers spoke, and you could tell from post-game comments from Doc that you'll hear throughout today's show that there was a lot that went wrong for the Bucks. Some things that were expected by other people, watching the team, seeing some areas of weaknesses, seeing areas where the Rockets are strong, rebounding. But more than that, it was just a complete collapse from the Bucks on multiple fronts. So let's hear from Doc Rivers about why this loss was so disappointing.
Yeah, I thought we were bad on both ends of the floor. Defensively, this game for me, they're a good team, but it was a game that I thought was very winnable for us. It's frustrating. I thought we didn't execute offensively at all. The ball stopped moving, and I thought defensively we gambled. We did things that we just can't do. So that led to a lot of stuff. They were amazing on the offensive glass, and I thought we were in there for the fight. Even when we were big, they were still getting them. But in the first half, I thought the difference in the game was we turned them over. So it was equal. In the second half, we turned it over, and they kept getting offensive rebounds, and that made it a tough game to win.
I feel like that's where we have to start. Rebounds and turnovers. Rebounds and turnovers. Now, the Bucks were killed on the boards against the Rockets. But like I said, that was kind of expected coming into this game. But it was still crazy to watch, to see a 50-27 rebounding advantage for the Rockets. It's crazy. Like, the Rockets had 20 offensive rebounds. 20 offensive rebounds in this game. The Bucks had 20 defensive rebounds in this game. I'm going to say that one more time. The Rockets had 20 offensive rebounds. The Bucks had 20 defensive rebounds in this game. And coming into the game, even on the Future Faux Focus show with Jackson from Locked On Rockets talking to him about this game, I said, the rebounding makes me really nervous. Like, the Rockets were a great offensive rebounding team last season, and they've gotten even better at it this season. They came into this game first in offensive rebounding percentage, first and second chance points. So knowing that, I was like, hey, the Bucks are going to have to be sound on the boards, and thought maybe this is going to be a Kyle Kuzma game just to put more size on the court. But didn't matter if the Bucks were big or not, because the Rockets were still getting those boards. And luckily, the Rockets didn't kill the Bucks on more second chance points like they could have. It was an 18-10 second chance point advantage for the Rockets in this one. Like I said, when a team gets 20 offensive rebounds, could have been a lot worse than that. In addition to the rebounding, which was a consistent problem throughout the game, right? Turnovers were a really, really big point. I personally thought that the Bucks had great defensive activity in the first half, and you could see it reflected in the score, right? 21 of their 61 first half points came off of 12 Rockets turnovers. 21 of their 61 points were off of turnovers. Meanwhile, in that first half, the Bucks only turned the ball over 4 times themselves, and that only led to 2 Rockets points. And the second quarter in particular was so good for the Bucks. They forced 8 turnovers in the second quarter alone and got 15 points off of that. So they were rolling a bit, but that did not carry over into the second half. Let's hear from Doc Rivers a little bit more about the turnovers that the Bucks faced.
I thought we were great. I thought our helps were great. We had a every time Sengun spin rule that we were fantastic in. I think we got 3 or 4 of them. Second half, we were late on them. I'm just saying, and I haven't watched it. I was frustrated when we were up 10. I was frustrated when we were up 10. I just thought it should have been 20, and we had a chance to put them away, and we didn't. And we didn't because of our self-inflicted wounds, and that was a difficult one. And then when they made the run, we never could get out of it. I thought that was a huge non-call. The Durant charge was a charge, and then it led to a 3-point play. But other than that, our guys were complaining about the one call. I said, they didn't do this. We did this. This is a self-inflicted loss by us, and we have to own that. All of us, coaches, players, everybody.
They truly do. They truly do. In the second half, the Rockets turned the ball over 6 times, leading to 9 points for the Bucks. Meanwhile, the Bucks turned the ball over 9 times, and that led to 17 points for the Rockets. It's hard to win that way. Like in the third quarter, it was a wash. Both teams had 3 turnovers in the third. Bucks got 4 points off of those. Rockets got 5 off of those. But in the fourth is when it really felt like it just broke down. And crunch time in particular, like the Bucks turned it over 5 times in the fourth, led to 10 Rockets points. Meanwhile, in the fourth quarter, the Rockets turned the ball over only 3 times. That led to 5 points for the Bucks. The ball movement for the not the Raptors, I'm thinking red teams, the Rockets was better in the second half. They were active. Reed Shepherd was out here. I think he finished the game with 4 steals and a block. Like, you expect Reed Shepherd to get the shots up and do all those things, but you don't expect Reed Shepherd to make that type of impact on the steals and even getting a block at 6'1". The block was on Gary Trent Jr., but still. And coming into the game, I was like, hey, the Rockets turned the ball over a lot on offense. They were 28th in turnover percentage. Bucks play at a faster pace than the Rockets do. The Bucks came into this game 10th in pace. The Rockets came into this game 28th in pace. So I thought, hey, Bucks don't normally force a lot of turnovers, but maybe this is the game to take an opportunity to take advantage of a bigger Houston team with bigger ball handlers. Maybe gamble a little bit more. Use speed to your advantage. And I thought that the Bucks they executed that better, is how I'll say it, in the first half. And unfortunately, it just wasn't defensively where the Bucks came up short. A lack of ball movement also doomed the Bucks down the stretch. Plus, we got to talk about free throw shooting. Again, it's a thing. We'll discuss more after this. But first, a word from our friends over at Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that same drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and EFTs, options, futures, and crypto all in one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, so expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. This episode is also brought to you by Game Time, because basketball season is in the swing of things and nothing beats being in the arena for the games. And let's be real, sometimes getting tickets can be a real headache. It's between waiting in queue, surprise fees, prices that can jump up right before checkout when you got your mind all set, thinking you're going to pay a certain thing, then something else pops up. So it's really easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. I've said it before, ain't no secret, I'm cheap. Okay. If you ever see me out here looking like I'm having it, it's because I'm doing it on a budget. Okay. And Game Time plays a part in that for me, because what you see is what you pay. There are no hidden fees at checkout. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. So take that guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Time is valuable. So every time you tune in to Locked On Bucks, I'm truly appreciative. Thank you for making Locked On Bucks your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. A special shout out to the everydayers who tune in Monday through Friday. And like I was saying, not only did the Bucks do themselves in defensively, but down the stretch, they also beat themselves offensively. Now, I found Kyle Kuzma's comments after the game kind of interesting, because he was still processing how the game was lost for the Bucks, right? Doc Rivers was a bit more pointed. Giannis was a bit more pointed after the game. I want you to hear comments from all three of them, because I think that they all get at the crux of what was a big problem offensively for this team down the stretch.
Haven't necessarily processed it yet. I think that we did a lot of good things during the game. Some things that we need to just be aware of as well. I think that we did a pretty good job up until the last 5 minutes. Coming into the game that they offensive rebound pretty well. And, I think it hurt us, but it didn't necessarily hurt us. I think they made some tough shots. I think we might have probably got a little stagnant. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about it, but, we lost,
Yeah, definitely did lose, and definitely was stagnant there in the second half. The Bucks had 18 assists in the first half. 18 assists. They only had 7 in the second. 7 assists in the second half after having 18 in the first. The ball got a lot more stagnant at the end of the game. Not a little bit, like Kuz was saying, again, he was processing the game in real time, kind of trying to think of how things went. But without a shadow of a doubt, the ball got sticky. Doc Rivers was not happy about it.
No, it was us. I didn't think we executed anything. We didn't run much. The ball stayed on one side, and it was everybody. We run a pick and roll play, and whoever got it tried to make a play. I thought our shooters were trying to be playmakers. I was not happy with how we played.
Yeah, I get it. We watched it. Like we can see why he wasn't happy with how just things went down the stretch. You weren't seeing guys move the ball. And it was even from guys who were having good games. Like in the third quarter when it was the Giannis takeover, they needed, Giannis to keep pushing that score forward, but wasn't too many other touches going on. Even some of the shot selections, right? Cole Anthony had a great game. He had a few moments where you kind of want him back, but more than not, it was a good game from Cole Anthony. He was settling from some tough floaters over some really big defenders at time. He got a few to go, so you applaud the effort and you're like, hey man, good shot. But tough shots. Like, is there a way offensively that the Bucks could have gotten themselves easier looks? I think that they could have. And in regards to the ball being stagnant, as I mentioned, Kuz was still kind of thinking about it. You heard from him. You heard Doc be a bit more pointed. And Giannis was more in alignment with his coach on how things went offensively for the squad.
I will agree. I think down the stretch, we didn't play smart. We didn't execute as well. The ball was sticking a lot. I think they finished the game with like 22-6 or 22-8 to run. They were definitely, whenever we were double teaming, we were like trapping the pick and roll. They were moving the ball, finding the open man. They were able to make some shots, and we did the complete opposite. So I would agree.
Yeah, he agrees with Doc. I agree with Doc, and I agree with him. Like it just got bad. Giannis kind of threw out what he thought that the Rockets ended the game on. Officially, the Rockets ended the game on a 22-7 run. 22-7 run to end the game. 15-point swing to end the game. A game in which you only lost by 7 points. Better execution, you could have had one. Second half in general, even outside of that crazy run to end the game, second half, the Bucks were outscored 72-54 in the second half. 18-point swing in the second half alone. And again, it really picked up there at the end of that fourth quarter. That's when you really started to feel it, because you saw that ball moving, you saw them making shots, you saw turnovers from the Bucks, you saw over aggressive defense from the Bucks. It just broke down. The third quarter, it was a 32-24 favor of the Raptors. I keep saying the Raptors, of the Rockets. 40-30 favor for the Rockets in the fourth quarter. So again, man, just outplayed, lost that second half by 18 points. 18 points. And it was like, hey, the Bucks were withstanding the offensive rebounding and whatnot in that first half, in large part because the three ball was falling for the Bucks. The Bucks finished the game 13-29 from three, shooting 44.8%. So rounded up 45%. You applaud that, the percentage at the very least, right? You don't applaud the fact that the Bucks only put up 29 threes in this game, especially when 19 of them came in the first half, meaning that the Bucks only were able to generate 10 3-point opportunities for themselves in the second half. Meanwhile, the Rockets finished the game taking 26 3-point attempts, so only 3 fewer than the Bucks. It's just, again, the split, right? First half, Rockets went 4-12 from three. Second half, Rockets went 6-14 from three. So not only did the Rockets put up 4 more 3-pointers in the second half than the Bucks, they also knocked 2 more down, which, again, you're like, that's 6 points, but it's a game that you lost 122-115. So all of those points add up. And coming into the game, another aspect of this matchup I was thinking about was the fact that the Rockets were dead last in the league in 3-point attempts. They only average about 29.8 attempts per game. So even in this game, they were below their average, but they are first in 3-point percentage. So they make them. They just don't shoot them at a high clip. The Bucks, on the other hand, were 11th in 3-point attempts coming to this game and 4th in 3-point make. And I was like, hey, the Bucks are going to have to beat the Rockets from three, get those shots up. And they just weren't able to get them up at the same volume in the second half because they weren't able to generate good looks for one another. They weren't able to drive and kick and draw the defense in. The Rockets play a lot of zone. And it felt like in the second half, the Bucks started to settle a little bit more. They started going one-on-one a little bit more. But there was some good news, bad news with free throws. Matter of fact, I'll tell you the good news, bad news about the free throws right after this. But first, I want to talk to you about our friends over at FanDuel, because listen, the NBA is back and there is no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every single game exciting, especially when your team's the one that's making that late push. That was not the case for the Bucks tonight, but that's beyond the point, because right now FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head on over to FanDuel.com to sign up and to play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Free throws have been a point of conversation throughout this season so far for the Bucks, and for a good reason. The Giannis whistle has been a point of conversation, as well as the fact, like, hey, the Bucks have not been shooting free throws well. The good news part for the free throws in this game was that they actually shot more free throws than the Rockets. Yay! Insert clapping. Woo! The bad news is that the Rockets made 2 more free throws than the Bucks, even though they took 3 fewer attempts. The Bucks finished the game shooting 58.3% from the free throw line. The Rockets were 76.2. Like I mentioned, the Bucks came into this game worst free throw shooting team in the league at around 70%. So they were even below their already league worst free throw percentage in this game. And a lot of it, they point to like, hey, it makes sense, right? When the guy who's going to get the most free throw attempts is Giannis, someone who historically has not been a great free throw shooter. Hey, I expect this team to not be a top free throw shooting team. That logic makes sense. And it's so different from the past, right? Because you had Dame the last 2 years next to Giannis, someone who can also get to the free throw line at a high clip, but also knock him down at a high clip. In this game against the Rockets, the 24 free throw attempts that the Bucks got, 14 of those attempts came from Giannis. And he went 9 of 14. He started the game 7-7. And then he went 2 of 7 down the stretch of that game, including 3 misses out of 4 down the stretch in like the last 2 minutes. It's tough, right? He's a career 69% free throw shooter, but he hasn't shot at least 69% or better from free throws since the 2021-22 season, when he shot 72% from the line. So that's tough. It's also tough when you have a Miles Turner, who's a 77% career free throw shooter, go 0 for 2. When Bobby Portis is a 77% career free throw shooter, goes 2 of 4, 50%. Rollins went 2 of 3. Part of it is volume. Like, Giannis was asked about this, and he said the hardest thing is getting to the free throw line. If they can continue just to get more attempts up, that's an area that is going to serve them well. It's a reason I've been saying for a while now, like, that's an area where I think Kevin Porter Jr. will help juice this team a little bit because of his ability just to touch paint. He was also getting those preseason, high five fouls on his shot attempts too. So they're going to just need more guys who can get to the free throw line consistently. And when the Bucks do get there, they just got to do a better job of knocking them down. Like, there's nothing more to say besides make your free throws. So it's a tough game to lose, right? You drop to 6-4, especially in the division that you're in right now, where Detroit's playing well, Chicago has been playing well, Cleveland is Cleveland, and then there's you, and you've been playing well as well. But I thought Kyle Kuzma said something interesting post game in regards to the Bucks losing here, because while a lot of the faces on this team are the same, of course, the Miles Turner for Brook Lopez swap is big, no Dame is big, but a lot of the guys who are getting playing time, like O'Rollins and AJ Green, a Gary Trent Jr., they were on the team last year. They were getting playing time last year. Kyle Kuzma was getting playing time last year, but they're all in different roles. And they're a young team. Like, the team itself, I don't believe is one of the youngest teams in the league because of the back half of the roster, kind of with the age, kind of bringing that average age up. But the rotation for the Bucks is young. And unfortunately, like we've mentioned in the offseason, there are going to be learning curves from some of these guys throughout the stretch here. And that's an aspect of it that Kuz focused on when thinking about this particular loss.
I mean, they're all every game's a learning situation, especially for this type of team. A lot of new guys, a lot of new faces, pretty much the whole team almost, right? And you need these type of games. These games, obviously probably feel a little rough and sucks to lose, right? But there were some positives, right? We just have to learn the things that we did wrong. We can't do this again, So it's life.
Ultimately, that is a good analogy for life. That is exactly how life works outside of sports. But we just talking about the basketball court right here and right now. And I agree. Like, it's gonna be some nights where it's like, dang, they just didn't execute well down the stretch. Now, what you hope is that in a few months' time, the team is learning from mistakes that you saw them make earlier in the year, so that they're not repeating mistakes, right? And there were some good things in this game. Ryan Rollins, I thought, had a really strong performance tonight. 19 points for him, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. He was 7 to 12 from the field overall. Pretty decent game from him. I thought Gary Trent Jr. early on, especially in that first half, when he was super active with his hands, just forcing a lot of turnovers, getting his hands in there for KD, for Sengun, just being annoying defensively. I loved his energy early on, and then even shooting the ball. He really did not take too many attempts. He didn't make a bucket, I don't think, outside of that first half there. So you want to see more of him. Miles Turner got off to a great start in this game. He had 7 quick points in the first quarter, finished with 13. You want to see him continue to be more aggressive down the stretch here. Giannis, even though at the end of the game, you could tell Giannis was tired, boss. Come the end of this game, you could see it. I think 2 turnovers there down the stretch in that final 3 minutes there, the 3 missed free throws from him. You could see it. And even just the gambling for the steal on Sengun at the end, like just some bad decision making down the stretch. It happens from time to time. You got to learn from it in those situations. So there was some good. I thought Cole Anthony, I mentioned him earlier, he had some tough floaters there thrown in, but ultimately he was on the glass himself. Like, he was the third leading rebounder for the Milwaukee Bucks in this game with 5. So, like, there are some things in this game you can look at and be like, hey, this went well. And the Bucks only went 9 deep in the rotation, which I kind of thought was interesting with Taurean Prince being out. I thought we might have saw some Jericho Sims in this game, given how big the Rockets are, but it did not play out that way for the squad. But hey, they're back at it again tomorrow. This was just the first game of a back-to-back, and now they are on a plane heading to Dallas to get ready to play the Dallas Mavericks, who did not play on Sunday, so they're going to be a little bit more rested than the Bucks. And back-to-backs are hard. We saw what happened in Toronto just a few days ago. But I'll say this, at least this game against the Rockets was a 2 p.m. game, so that the Bucks can at least get to Dallas at a decent hour. Giannis was asked about this game. Again, very pointed response from Giannis about what this Dallas game means to the Milwaukee Bucks.
In the end, must win. It's a must win. As I said, I think we're supposed to win this game today. We didn't. We gave them the game. Tomorrow we have another one. This is why, NBA is great. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. Tomorrow you have another one. You have another chance to redeem yourself. And but tomorrow is a must win. We cannot win. We cannot lose 2 in a row.
Giannis has been saying throughout this season so far that good teams do not lose 2 games in a row. And I'm going to add an asterisk to that and say that good teams should not lose to a team like Dallas at that, because Dallas has been bad to start the year. They are 3-7 with their wins coming over Toronto, Indy, and Washington. A Washington team that has already beat them earlier so far in this season. So them going to Washington, getting that win was kind of like a revenge win, you could say, for Dallas. And here's why. Not even just the record for the Mavericks is why, like, hey, y'all need to win this game, but also Dallas has the worst offensive rating in the league, like historically bad. Nick was on the crossover episode previewing this game talking about just how bad this Dallas offense has been, and he was not exaggerating. They also haven't been a good offensive rebounding team, and they don't force too many turnovers. So some of the areas that we've seen the Bucks be weak in, at least the Mavericks historically so far this season haven't been that strong in. Now, we do need to keep an eye on the injury report for Dallas in this upcoming game, because Anthony Davis might be back into the lineup for the Mavericks after missing a few games here. We got to keep an eye on that, as well as what's going on with Lively and Gafford and what their minute allocation might be if they play in this one. So a winnable game in Dallas tomorrow, even if it is on the second night of a back-to-back for the Bucks. Like we talked about after Toronto, back-to-backs are part of the league. There's no excuses after a while. Sometimes you feel like the schedule lost, you tip your cap and you move on to the next game. But given the fact that you just dropped a game that should have been won, puts the pressure on you even more to try to go and get this win over Dallas, especially as mentioned, a Dallas team that has struggled to start the year. So, hey, at least the Bucks don't have to wait long to have another chance to get this bad taste out of their mouth from losing a game to Houston that was in their grasp until what felt like the last 5 minutes. Despite all the other things that were going on, despite the slippage, they were still in this game at the end, and that's the part that makes it just maddening to lose. But got to thank you for making Locked On Bucks your first listen today. For your next listen, make sure you check out the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast. If you want to be right in your league, Josh Lloyd's going to get you right with all the stats and the tips and everything you need to try to be a winning player in your league, plus make you a smarter NBA fan overall. Truly do appreciate you for tuning in to Locked On Bucks. We'll catch you later. We'll be back tomorrow with the post-game episode following Bucks and Mavericks.